Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua. Get this. Eddie Hearn states that right now, Joshua is not at the optimal level he could be to face Fury or Wilder. Eddie Hearn, promoter of former two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, is looking at the potential options for his boxer's next fight. Last Saturday, we saw in London, Joshua snapped a two-fight losing streak by winning a 12-round unanimous decision over Jermaine Franklin. It was Joshua's first bout with veteran trainer Derek James, who is best known for his work with Jermell Charlo and Errol Spence. The front-runner to face Joshua's Dillian White, Otto Vailene, and Joe Joyce being mentioned as well. Hearn would like to see Joshua take on one more fight in the summer before facing Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder in December. He said, quote, "The general feeling is we need another fight, a step up from Franklin, but in order to gel and continue improving with Derek James, we need another fight in the summer of that nature," said Hearn. He also said that we also know that the Tyson Fury fight, whether that's even possible, may be a summer fight, and that might be the only chance. So it's a difficult decision, because if we're doing it with a view to keep improving in longevity and to get him to the best, then we should have another fight. Momentum is key for AJ. He's boxed like twice a year, sometimes once a year through COVID for the last 3 or 4 years. I want him to box in July, then again in December. I think it'll do him really good to have a couple of weeks off now, then go straight back to Texas with Derek James. If we're going to go into a Fury or a Wilder fight, which is inevitable, I just want him to go in with the best chance that he can have, and I feel right now he's not at the optimal level he could be to go into those fights. He would still go into them, and I still would give him a chance in those fights, and I believe he could win those fights, but I would just like to see him firing going into these fights, and what I saw on Saturday was not Joshua firing on all cylinders. And those are the words of Eddie Hearn. This sounds good from Eddie, and what Eddie does, he talks a lot to try to cover all bases in forms of being sensitive or being concerned for his fighter. But it's the ability to read through and to understand what a person's saying. He said that, hey, we need another fight for Joshua. Okay, that's what he said, because he's not firing on all cylinders. We understand that. But this is what he also said, and I want people to pay attention. He said, we also know that the Tyson Fury fight, whether that's even possible, may be a summer fight, and that might be the only chance. So it's a difficult decision. Okay. Now understand what that means. That means if Tyson Fury decided to say, you know what, I don't have a fight right now, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to call out Anthony Joshua just like I did last December. And you know what Eddie Hearn would do? Despite saying all the shit that he just told us, he would push Anthony Joshua in there desperately, just to make a fight, just to see that fight happen, just to see the revenue roll in, and more than likely get his ass beat, just so he can get that fight under the notch. That's what he would do. Because he said it's a difficult situation. No, it's not. It's not a difficult situation. If you know that your fighter is not ready for someone like Tyson Fury, then why in the fuck would you even consider putting him in there with someone like Tyson Fury right now? That's a summer fight. Okay, what do you mean? That means if it's this summer, it's going to happen. That's what Eddie's saying. What he should say is, no, he's not ready for that right now. This is a rebuild process. He's got a new trainer. He has to adapt to the new trainer. They have to gel together. He has to learn him more. They've done their first they've done their first run, right? So it is what it is. You know, you can't make a fighter ready. Well, I still give him a chance, but I just don't think he's firing on all cylinders. So why would you even want to fight like that? Anthony Joshua's made enough money. Eddie Hearn has made enough money from Anthony Joshua. So why would you just for the sake of, hey, we need to get a fight ready or a fight done, try to fight Tyson Fury? What, you know, the overall goal for Anthony Joshua now, we've seen that performance. If you haven't, it was very, very mediocre to say the least. Okay? It was boring. It was tentative. He looked tentative. He didn't look like he, you could call it ring rust, but I don't know if it was ring rust. You know, there's a lot of factors you have to consider when you're dealing with Anthony Joshua. But he wasn't the guy that we expected to see. We expected to see a guy, because he fought me, I expect to see Anthony Joshua get in there with Jermaine Franklin, go to work on Jermaine Franklin, because Jermaine Franklin wasn't technical or is technically sound by far like Alexander Usyk. So you wouldn't have those type of problems or that type of chess game to figure out. So therefore, okay, this guy's real easy. I got him figured out now. I see what he does. He doesn't really have anything to offer. He can come in with the jab or the left hook. He's trying to come down to the body, let me counter upstairs and work these combinations and work the jab all night. I didn't have to grab him every time he came in like I was unsure of what the fuck he was doing. But that's what Anthony Joshua was doing. So that told me right then, that was like, okay, you're not even studying your fighter. You're just going in there trying to score points, and you're unsure. And when you're unsure, you just hold. So when in doubt, I'm going to grab. I'm going to hold him, and I'm going to wait for the referee to do his job, which, hell, he may or may not been paid to do a certain type of job, because that was some blatant favoritism towards Anthony Joshua in that fight. You got to keep it a buck, okay? Now, with Eddie Hearn saying, oh, hey, you know, he might be in there with Tyson, and this, you know, it's a difficult situation. It shouldn't be a difficult situation at all if you give a fuck about your fighter. It shouldn't be at all. It should be a situation where you know that Anthony Joshua is not ready or not prepared, and you know what's happening in the process. You know he hasn't fought but maybe once a year for the last 2 years. Okay, and this is probably the first time in the last 3 years that he's fighting twice. You got 2020 one time, 2021 one time, 2022 another one time. Now it's 2023. So it's the first time, it's the first time in 3 years that he's actually fought twice. Counterpunch. Since 2019. And he fought Andy Ruiz twice. And he fought that guy. So that's 2 and 18, 2 and 17, 2 and 16. Do you see where I'm going with this? So he has to get back on track first. Besides get pushed in there for another fight just because his name is marketable or sought after. Because Tyson Fury may decide to, you know what, let's fight him and get him out of the way. Because I've seen Jermaine Franklin, you know, if he struggled with Jermaine Franklin, he didn't do a better job than Dillian White. So you know what, let's get him out of there. Let's make this quid, though. Let's make this money. Tyson Fury could say that. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn's statement that he's not firing on all cylinders and he is not fighting at the optimal level. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.